Well, here we are in early 2026, and when I look back at 2025, I'm amazed at the evolution of AI and the impact that it's made on legal firms, legal marketing, how they're found, and really every industry. And it's just been an overwhelming, exciting, white knuckle ride the whole way through. And I took some time off over the holidays, but I wasn't just sitting there. I was processing everything that happened in 2025, and I was thinking about the layers of authority that need to be in place for AI to find our firms, to recognize us as an authority in our practice area, and how we can structure that in a more coherent way so that we're feeding the algorithms exactly what they're looking for so that we can be that top trusted, credible result when searchers are putting queries into any of the AI systems. So I came up with the layers of authority, if you will, and it's really an AI authority architecture that is designed to build trust in AI-mediated systems. So these AI-mediated environments, it's necessary to have visibility. Everybody's talking about visibility, but that's just not enough. That's just the initial layer, is structuring your content, your website, everything that you're putting out there about yourself in a way that AI and other algorithms can accurately and efficiently read that information. But it's also the second layer, which is more important in my opinion, which is really being the authoritative, credible source of truth for those AI algorithms so that they will cite you and recite you, meaning they will put you in the AI summaries when searchers are looking for answers to their specific problems in the area of law that you practice. So this authority structure, the AI authority structure and architecture, is really created and built to feed the algorithm what it's looking for, because they're no longer just passive retrieval tools. They actively summarize and compare and recommend sources of truth before a human will ever click on the website. And that's more and more the truth as the public becomes more fluent with AI systems and more they understand the value of using them and the time savings that they're going to get by using them. So that's just going to continue to be the case in a more and more profound way. So if we don't structure our content, our presence, our authority online, we're going to be ignored by the algorithms. And that's something that is going to come back to haunt us later if we don't set everything up properly right now. So it's not about popularity. It's really about clarity. It's about having a consistent signal and message. It's about being verifiable to the algorithms so that they can trust you, because the algorithms don't want to risk citing you if you're not a coherent source of truth, because they are taking a risk on putting you in front of the public for a your money or your life niche, which is law, right? So in AI mediated environments, this architecture is really a framework for understanding how trust is formed inside the AI answers and the summaries that they provide and the recommendations that they ultimately give, which is what we're looking for. We want AI to recommend us as that source of truth, right? So it's about getting the systems to evaluate whether we are that source of truth and whether we're safe to cite and recite. And they're not really evaluating the same signals that humans do. They're really not ranking our expertise. They're assessing this risk, and they want to be able to trust that they're able to identify who is speaking, that they're able to summarize the content that is out there in a coherent way that doesn't have distortion in the signal. In other words, it's a coherent message that you're putting out on a consistent basis, and to verify that through those consistent signals, and then to reuse the language over and over again without introducing risk, because AI, again, wants to avoid putting risk into the equation. So how does this differ from traditional SEO? Well, traditional SEO really optimizes for ranked lists and click behavior. So you would get your keywords ranked, and then you would be in this stack of results in a traditional search. So AI authority optimizes for answer selection and reuse, and not just for ranking specifically. And this distinction matters a lot because these AI systems are frequently summarizing your content in your voice instead of linking directly to your website so that the searcher can make that assumption and make that kind of mental process of building trust or recognizing trust in real time. So that's the difference. SEO is really asking, how do we rank? Whereas AI authority is asking, how do we become the source the system trusts enough to cite and recite? So if a system can't confidently summarize your message, it can't safely cite you in its summaries and answers. And this is why clarity and structure outweigh the keyword density and the keyword focus in traditional SEO. So in the LexWire authority model, we really have a system that is designed, it's tested, it's refined, and it's about creating that authority that's not claimed in AI systems. It's really accumulated through repeatable signals over a period of time. And this is formalized really the architecture in two different layers. And I'll start with the definition pages, because the definitions establish the stable language and boundaries that AI will use to create that trust, recognize that trust, and eliminate risk on their side. So we have the authority stack, the signals, the specific signals that we're going to use to create this trust. We're going to have the gravity of citations. We're going to have the coherence of entity coherence, we call it. And then structural legibility is how readable your information is. Semantic clarity, how clear the specific signals and canonical quotables, as we call them, in the language that you use that's repeatable, so that AI can recognize you as that real expert and authority for those particular subjects in that subject matter. And then the ethical coherence. Are you ethical enough to trust? And then we have validation pages that document the observed behavior when a signal is tested, and they emphasize the correlation, the limitations, and the repeatability. And these are really the experiments with this AI authority architecture that we're doing internally, so that we can verify that these signals are coherent and that they're making an impact by allowing our clients to be to show up more in summaries and be citable on a consistent and repeatable basis. So this trust problem is really what AI systems are solving, and every AI generated answer is really, it's representing this trade-off between the usefulness of the information that's out there and the risk involved with citing a specific source of truth for that information. So again, we're not ranking expertise anymore in the SEO space. What we're doing is assessing the risk involved with citing your firm as the source of truth for a particular search or query. So at LexWire, we're observing that firms that are excluded from AI answers it's most often due to the ambiguity of the entity itself, meaning there's unclear authorship or unclear identity. The algorithms can't pull together the different citations to your name, the different biographies, the different authorship that you have around your content, and pull that together in a coherent way. So there's ambiguity there, and ambiguity really equals risk, right? And then there's structural ambiguity. So the content is hard to summarize. It's not structured in a way that AI can consume it, summarize it, and present that summary back to the searcher for the query that they have. And then there's verification gaps. And this is making claims without clear boundaries. So if you're making absolute 100% claims about, I can do this, or the law says that, without putting in this sort of disclaimer that it's in this specific case, or it's under these specific parameters that this thing might be true, what's that doing is it's creating risk, because the algorithms are smart enough to know that, especially in law and your money and your life niche or practice area, that there is no absolute. And so when you put those disclaimers in there, it allows AI to trust you that much more, because it's saying this source is a source that is not going beyond the ethical obligations of the practice of law, in other words, but they are giving us the real truth of the answer and the real parameters and guidelines that direct that answer, in other words. So that is the LexWire AI architecture in a nutshell. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for joining me here at the channel. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify podcasts or something like that, thanks for joining me. If you want to know more about LexWire, just ask AI why LexWire and it'll tell you. We'll see you on the next episode.